Welcome to Fragmental.
An amusing take on random topics. I was going to start with because I bet apparently that's my lead in.
I mean, dude, 10 episodes strong, man. I'm just saying.
Well, you know what? Maybe everybody's got a tagline like "Eat my shorts" like Bart Simpson. So mine's like, "So the other day."
That's Fragmental. So ...
So ... Yeah, I put in ... in a text message or whatever, and a friend of mine was like, "You know what that means, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, it means like they're waiting for something." Actually, it's supposed to mean. The fuck's it supposed to mean? It's supposed to mean like you're jumping ahead in the story, and then that's where you pick it up from there. They're supposed to know that.
Yeah,
that's what ellipsis, right? Is that
yeah,
what it's ellipsis?
ellipses? Yeah,
yeah. Anyway, I used the 3 dots too much. They were a little offended by my ...
Were they fucking
not
from
offended.
Oxford?
Nah, well,
Are they Oxford professors?
No, they weren't. But that's well.
So that's why I say anytime like I hear somebody who's like, "Oh, you spelled such and such wrong," like just in general, and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't realize we were in the presence of an Oxford professor. I'm sorry."
I thought you were going to say grammar Nazi, but
I'm sorry, your omnipotence.
I was watching Shawshank the other day, and somebody said obtuse.
Yeah, I did.
I had to go look that up.
Yeah, but you're being obtuse. But what?
Yeah. Oh, I told you this the other day, right? I love that movie, Shawshank.
Absolutely love that. It's one of my top 3.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And it was on like AMC or some other channel, and I was like, fuck this. And I went out and I bought the movie because they kept cutting commercials. They didn't have the swear words. They didn't have any of that. So I bought the fucking movie and switched over to the movie to watch the rest of it so I could watch it without commercials. I don't know what the fuck was wrong with me, but now I own Shawshank, so that's cool.
Well, you know why? Because we've gotten so used to the DVR life. Like, we don't... commercials? No, I'm not watching these damn things.
Absolutely. I just switched to YouTube TV. So
right.
I'm still figuring that out. But unlimited DVR, and I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, and he's just like, fuck it, I just record everything. I just like add a library. And he goes, I got like 50 shows recording because I got unlimited DVR. Why the fuck not?
Yeah. Take that, DirecTV.
DirecTV. Yeah, that whole game. Well, you and I talked about this with the whole how I did the analysis on breaking all that shit down and ended up on YouTube TV. But I think some of the major cable companies are missing out. If they can figure out how to do streaming, they're missing out on literally dominating the market.
Oh yeah.
I mean, my cable company. You back out HBO and you back out Showtime. I think it was competitively priced with the Hulus of the world, the YouTubes of the world, and it had 200 fucking channels compared to like 60.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just missing out. So, well, speaking of TV, I mean, people are like, you guys are going to talk about fucking cable? No, actually, we're going to talk about the NFL draft because that's coming up. Is it this weekend? No, next weekend.
So, right, it's all spread out. Like, it starts, I think, on Thursday now, and then I think it's pretty much like Thursday through Saturday.
Okay, and yeah. Because you said to me the other day, we're like, we're trying to figure out what we're going to talk about. We talk about NFL draft. I'm like, they're going to do the NFL draft on the Easter? I mean, because it's like, but they're like, no, it's next weekend, dick nut. So.
Speaking of ham sandwich, over here we've got some offensive linemen.
Yeah, exactly. So
you talked about the analysis thing, right, about the cable. I mean, is there anything more overanalyzed than the NFL draft?
Dude, I think they started doing the NFL draft like 4 months ago. Like Kuiper on ESPN and those guys. Like,
they were doing mock drafts in September. Like, such and such NFL, or I'm sorry, such and such college quarterback.
In September? Like the season wasn't even over.
Right.
It just started.
But they're already like, look who just threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's a second rounder. And you're like, what?
Yeah, then he tears his Achilles the next fucking game. Yeah, he just dropped to the 9th round.
The guy's a sophomore, dude.
He's not going into the draft. This isn't college basketball. Oh, by the way, Zion went for the draft.
Oh, shocker.
Yeah, shocker. I sent you that meme. It's just like Zion's the greatest freshman of all time, and it showed a picture of Carmelo Anthony.
Yes.
For those of you that don't know, I'm from Syracuse. Mike went to Syracuse, so we've got allegiance to Syracuse, and it's like, and he's holding up the national title page, whatever. It's like, greatest fucking freshman ever. I don't think so.
Nice Elite Eight run.
Yeah, exactly. Nice Elite Eight run.
But no, man. I mean, I love the draft, man. As a football coach, a former football coach, I should say, right? I mean, I dig it. I dig the watching the film. I like breaking it down. I like, teaching good tackling and all that. So I look, full disclosure, I'm a nerd for the NFL draft.
I watch it. I mean, I sit. My wife is just like, "What are we fucking watching?" You're like four guys just waiting for a number to be called. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know why I find it fascinating. I just do. And I don't follow it close enough to know the details that they're talking about.
Yeah.
Because the nice thing about watching the draft is they cut into the combine, and they cut into video, and they show you why they're there. You were speaking of coaching earlier, and just thought of it. It wasn't this year's national championship. It was last year's national championship. They had ESPN had the game. They had another channel with something else, and they had a channel with just coaches. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
They had Dino Babers on from Syracuse.
Yeah.
And then the guy from West Virginia, I can't think of his name.
Dana Holgerson.
Yeah, Holgerson. And
Sorry, football nerd guys.
And then two other guys. I found it to your point, you find it fascinating. I found it fascinating listening to them talk about watches drop and the details that you don't normal casual fan wouldn't see of I think it was Babers was saying something about, I forgot who was playing, but it was probably Alabama and Clemson. I'm assuming one of those two was in the
Actually, I think it was
2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that level of detail, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what I find funny about the NFL draft is that's how close they break it down. But to your point, it's he's the second rounder. It's it's fucking October,
right?
Right? You know what I mean?
So right, there's you hear it all the time every year. There's a guy this guy's going to be the number one pick, and then come April, a week before the draft, now he's sliding. Or right, Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be a top 3 pick and slid till the end of the first round. Right, it was considered this historic thing, and look, man, I mean, everything's all hearsay as well. So they're word on the street is this guy popped a boner and it was smaller than they expected, easily dropping 5 to 10 picks.
Well, but you get what corrects me up about the draft is Jerry Rice, absolute Hall of Famer, amazing,
might be the greatest football player of all time.
Well, let's not go.
He's in the conversation though.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
That's why I'm not saying he is. He might be.
He might be. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, he's in the conversation.
He was what round did he go in? 5, 6, something like that?
He was a later round out of nowhere state.
Out of Appalachia, Mississippi, community college or some fucking thing like that. My point is they don't. That's all speculation. I mean, it's all speculation
right.
At that point. I was thinking about this earlier. Just it's October, and they're talking about this guy being number one. They're literally playing at that point. They're playing community colleges. You know what I mean? It's he scored 700 points. It's he played a fucking high school.
Right. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And now it's so overblown. Everybody's getting paid off of it. So, right. So you always had Mel Kiper, all this. Now you got Todd McShay, and everybody's hanging all over these words.
By the way, I love Kiper.
I think Kiper's the best, truthfully.
Yeah,
not to take anything away from McShay, but I think he is. Plus, I love that his hair moves
sometimes.
His
fucking hair is awesome. Kiper, I think, has the best hair in sports.
So, you have Frank Caliendo, the comedian that does all the impressions, and he always does John Madden, and John Madden loved Brett Favre, and he made the line, well, Mel Kiper, he's his hair is the Brett Favre of hair. And you're Mel Kiper with that. I mean, that guy's done this since 1981.
That's his job.
He's parlayed this. Dude's a millionaire now.
Yeah.
Because all he does, I don't think the guy has played a lick of football in his life. But the guy has figured it out. He can break it down, and he's pretty accurate, I suppose. But
at the end of the day, which is funny because I use that term way too fucking much. At the end of the day, he's watched. I'll give Mel Kiper credit because he's watched enough film over a long period of time to see the next Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
To see you know what I mean.
The only people who've watched more film than Mel Kiper is Ron Jaworski and actual coaches.
Why Ron Jaworski?
Ron Jaworski's a huge film guy. Our listeners don't know who the fuck Ron Jaworski is, but he was a former NFL quarterback, and he lives for it. That's his thing, man, and he'll tell you that. He's on all the time. I loved it. He used to be on an NFL show. I used to love it because I liked his breakdown. Again, football.
What's he on? He's on ESPN now, right? He's still around.
Yeah. He's actually a co-owner where Columbus is getting an arena team again. He's a co-owner. Why he picked Columbus, I'll never know.
I don't know. You know what? It's probably dollars. It's probably it's a
Columbus is a growing market, so I get it. So one of the things that I want to touch on, right, we talk about the NFL, is the over-analysis of everything, right?
Oh, God,
I mean,
yeah.
as they're talking about a guy, they're like, look, I mean, the motor on this guy, first, and they cut all these buzzwords, high motor, low center of gravity, gritty and gutty. Like, they got all these terms that just is supposed to make a guy sound that much better. So I crack up every time, and they're like, look, this guy's got a high motor, Bob, just keeps running constantly. Well, that's his job, first of all.
He's a fucking running back.
He's right. The guy's not supposed to loaf. He's paid to run. So those always crack me up. One of my, you see they're ogling over these players. First of all, these guys are all jacked, right?
Oh, God,
everybody, right? These guys going to the NFL are 6'3", 245 pounds, and also 6% body fat. They're jacked. You got 300-pound men.
I have 6% body fat in my forearm.
Right. You've got guys who are 300 pounds running faster than guys that are 190 pounds. Like Brock Lesnar, he tried out for the NFL at one point, and I always said, you always would make the joke, like, what would you do if such and such wanted to fight you? You'd say, I'd punch him and run. Well, Brock Lesnar ran a 4.40. You can't even run from him. So, and your punch is only going to piss him off.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and he's like 6'8", so you're gonna punch him in the chest because you know what I mean. You're not gonna punch him in an area that will affect him at all.
Right.
It's like a fucking beast thing at that point.
Absolutely.
I had a buddy, actually, I shouldn't have had. I have a friend of mine that played in the NFL. And you were talking about overanalyzing, and this always comes to my mind when somebody talks about overanalyzing. He said, you play the game on Sunday. He played in the NFL, played the game on Sunday. By fucking Tuesday, they've talked about every possible fucking thing you can talk about for Sunday's game. So Wednesday to Sunday again is all filler.
No, you're right. Truthfully, so I think we got Monday Night Football. Typically, they get Monday or Tuesday off.
Yeah.
And he's right. Wednesday is pretty much now just we're going to do a pads day and make sure you figured out all the shit we talked about.
Right.
And you're right. Thursday, Friday, it's all walkthrough.
Yeah, absolutely at that point. So it cracks me up. But yeah, the NFL draft, I watch it, and like I said, my wife's like, "What are you fucking doing?" But I'm like invested, like, who are they gonna pick next? It's almost like I don't know the players. I'm like you said, you're former coach, so you get like kind of
I love
the analysis of it. I like the breakdown of it, but to me, it's like a lottery. It's like, okay, who are they gonna pick?
Yeah,
and
it is.
Kuiper's, and of course it's on. I think it's on ESPN, right? Most of the time it's on ESPN. And Kuiper's like, well, here's the best of the running backs, and here's the best of so and so, and you're like, who are they going to pick with it? I guess that makes me. It falls back more into my degenerate gambler than it does anything else. Because I'm like, come on. I mean, if I could gamble on who they're going to pick,
Maybe that's the real reason I like the draft.
Maybe it is.
I'm a degenerate as well.
Is there? I mean, we just got done with we should do a squares on the fucking draft.
We should. I want in on that action.
Oh God!
Can we put this together by Monday?
When's it start? Thursday. This Thursday.
We'll have to talk about this. Not on the podcast.
We're 13 minutes in. We're gonna run about 55, maybe 60 minutes at the top. So after that, we got to figure out if we can. That's a fucking great idea. A fucking squares on the draft.
Let's figure it out. I think we could do.
How would you do that though? There's too many players though, right?
Yeah. Figure it out after the call after the show.
After the call.
So,
Yeah. It's
after the call.
After the call, right? Caller 4. Oh, right. We don't have callers. My bad.
So is the NFL missing an opportunity, right? One of the cool things about the draft, one of the things I like about it is, there's the whole nerd football stuff, but maybe they should point to some of the other things, right? Like these dudes, like, yes, they've lived life banging 6s and 7s their whole life. These guys who were first rounders are now millionaires, and they're like, the list went up. Like now they're getting porn stars, famous chicks. Like,
I don't know, dude. I mean, maybe
You're right. If you were a star in college, you were banging the 10s on campus.
You were banging,
sure.
You're getting TV coverage. Those 10s are coming up to you on campus.
That's true.
I have a meme somewhere. Remember years ago, who was the what the fuck was the dude's name? He was the quarterback for Notre Dame. He was ugly as shit. And
You did narrow it down then.
What's that?
Rick Meyer?
No. I don't remember. Anyway, they had a picture of who was the I can't remember. Anyway, they showed a bunch of the USC like the USC quarterback was a fucking good looking guy, not gay, but he's a good looking guy. His girlfriend was amazing. They showed some other fucking guy from Texas. His fucking girlfriend was amazing, and whatever. Like,
Brady Quinn.
Brady Quinn. It might have been Brady Quinn. Anyway, all of their girlfriends were like easy 10s, smoking fucking hot easy 10s. And they cut to Notre Dame, and the dude's got like 2 hideous girls next to him. He goes, and this is why Notre Dame can't win a national championship.
And that wasn't Brady Quinn then, because his wife is
no, they're absolutely. So to your point, yeah, they're. I'm not calling women out in general, but some of those women are like, this guy's going to the NFL.
Oh, they're latching on.
Yeah, they're latching
for
on.
Sure.
My friend, a buddy of mine said that he knew a buddy of mine's friend. His daughter actually dated Tom Brady at Michigan.
Really?
Yeah, they like when he was like a freshman, sophomore, like through there. Maybe even a senior, but because he wasn't really anything at.
No, he was a 6th-round pick. He was a good quarterback in Michigan.
Yeah,
but I mean, he was nothing.
Right.
Nobody not even Tom Brady, I guarantee, said, "I'm going to be the greatest of all time."
Yeah, I'm going to win 6 fucking national championships.
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah. So they dated in college. Like his daughter dated this guy, fucking Brady in college. And
so do you think she says now when they're on TV and she's like, "Hey, I got railed by that guy"?
I don't think she says that.
No offense to her dad, by the way.
I'm sure he's not listening. We have like 19 fucking listeners. And
sorry, I thought there was a chance he was one of them, Dave. Sorry.
Well, maybe by the FYI, guys, we're on Twitter now, so maybe we'll get more than 19 people that we all know, all 19. So
please retweet us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. After the show's done, I'll post it and we'll retweet.
So I mean, like I said, there's other aspects of the draft that are funny. Well, you had the combine first, right? So I always go to the story of. Couple years ago, you had the football player who ran and fell, and his dick fell out.
Yeah,
and
that massive fucking piece of
it was 10 inches soft. I mean, so I mean,
it was not in a pool. It wasn't cold out. That's for sure.
Right. Right. It would have to be absolutely freezing just to make it a big dick.
To back it down to like 8.
And like, do you think if that was a female owner that she's like, so have you guys looked at old Johnson over here? And they're like,
Johnson, nice.
Well, I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, I mean, he's late rounder. She's like, I don't know. I mean, he's really moved up the board. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention.
Yeah. He's moving up and in to the number 1 location.
Right. As a matter of fact, him and I are going to meet on Saturday night. I heard he's got a high motor. Really good. Can really pump that thing, if you know what I'm saying.
Hey, you know what? You guys don't need to be there. I'll handle this myself.
Right. Weird. It's after you guys are all traveling. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'll just send you guys the notes.
You guys are all headed to Indianapolis, so don't worry. I'll talk to him.
But they said the guy was one of the most sought after interviews, like at the combine and then the draft.
Because his dick fell out?
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Well, I mean, because it's not like, it fell out and they were like, oh, that's really average. Yeah. It fell out and they were like, my God. What happened, Bob? Yeah, he just did. He fell. And I think he got rug burn on his dick, John. I'm sorry. I mean, and the guy, he put it in pretty quick, put it back pretty quickly. But then I started wondering, how does your dick even fall out when you're falling?
Hey, you know what? How about wearing some fucking compression shorts or something? You know what I mean? Pack that
I
fucking
think he
thing
had
away.
them on. That's what I'm saying. Is he in XL, but he wore double XL compression shorts?
Maybe his dick's so big it just tore through. It's like, I need fucking air. I need to breathe.
Right. I mean, it was good for him, man. The guy, I guarantee.
Oh, hey, you know what? Props to, kudos.
If he wasn't doing well before that, I guarantee the dude, he's like, well, this is interesting. 20 porn chicks just slid into my DMs.
And 35 high schoolers. Wait, let me back that. Not high schoolers. College people. Sorry.
That got weird, Dan.
Yeah, it did get weird.
Those girls.
Sorry. By the way, just FYI, I am I'm 3 drinks in, very strong. Mike's like, you're going to be fucking hammered by the end of this.
So what if, right, we talked about the overanalyzation of everything with the NFL draft, right? So what if we applied this to life? What if we overanalyzed and put all these stupid-ass adjectives to the things we do in life, right? So we're buying things, right?
Yeah.
We buy shit, right? Buying a car, buying whatever. Like,
Well,
what
it's-
if we approached that and did the ridiculous amount of due diligence that all these NFL coaches do?
but also have like a buying draft, right? You gotta have like guys sitting around. Chappelle did something similar, right? Didn't he? Yeah,
He did a racial draft.
He did a
which
racial
is
draft. So
hilarious.
we're,
shizzle.
we're not gonna we're working off of that, but yeah, exactly. Applying to life, like you're buying a car, for example. It's just like it's got to, it runs well. The tires, I don't know. It could be a third rounder. The paint on it could be, doing all that.
I don't know, Bob. It's got a high motor. I think you may want to reconsider that.
It runs hot, Bob. It runs hot. You might want to, you know what I mean?
I was looking, the thing looks great under the hood. Just like, right, they're all in shorts and no shirt in the NFL draft and the combine and all that. Well, not the draft, but at the combine.
Right.
So, they're like, under the hood, man, this thing's really smoking hot. Tell you right now, have you seen the exhaust on this thing? I think the exhaust fell out when it was driving the 40. It's easily 12 inches long.
It's great on the highway, but I'm gonna pull it back. It didn't do well on the streets. It didn't do well city. So I would put it at a third or fourth round over this car over here because it did well city and highway.
Well, quite frankly, Dave, this thing grew up in the burbs. I don't think it's ready for the big stage yet. It can get its feelings hurt pretty clearly.
Now you're talking about like hipster fucking or millennial
Getting
millennial
their
car.
Oh, could you? What would the draft sound like if the hipsters were buying anything? Like, oh, I don't know if I can't put avocado on it. It's clearly a bottom feeder.
Is that meat? I don't eat meat.
The Corvette cannot grow a cheesy pencil mustache, so it also looks like it's showered recently and been washed heavily. Which again, I'm out.
You just reminded me. Speaking of pencil cheesy mustaches, hey Ricky Fowler, love your golf game. Shave the fucking mustache. Shave the mustache.
He's got the.
I literally like Ricky Fowler. I think he's a fucking fantastic golfer.
He seems like a good dude.
He seems like a cool dude. Everything, but dude, the fucking are you trying to grow it out? I don't know what you're trying to do there. It's just. It's not a good look, man. It's not a.
So I like. All right, so we're NFL drafting his mustache. Okay, so
exactly. Sorry.
Is it built for speed? Do you think he could handle the wear and tear of a full season, Dave?
I don't know. I honestly think if somebody was sitting on his face, they'd rub it off. Like if the chick would unless she's like we were talking about this earlier. Unless it's hardwood down there, maybe she's got a landing strip. She's working that off. He could come up from that, and there's nothing
That's fair. So, okay, you're chowing a beef right now.
Yep.
There's no way. It sounds like there's no way the girl can be on top because I'm a fan of that. I'll grind my fucking face.
Yeah.
Have
you seen that meme? Before keep your thought. Have you seen that meme where the South Park from Randy Marsh, and it said something when she sits on your face and then gets up and then he's like, I didn't hear no bell. Have you seen that?
I've seen the episode, but I have not seen the meme.
I'll have to find it sent to you. But it's great. It's just like when she's grinding on your face and then gets off and asks if you're okay, and you go like, I didn't hear no bell.
That's a great episode.
It is
a good episode. So all right. Is there any other possible way we could break down Ricky Fowler's mustache?
I don't think so. Don't get me wrong. If Ricky, if you're listening, which I doubt, but if you're listening, dude, shave the mustache. That's not helping.
So what else do you think people could buy and completely overanalyze to really make it a good?
TVs,
electronics, right?
Electronics in general. Like me particularly, I do like an absolute shit ton of analysis on whatever I think I want to buy. It's like, well, this one is I don't know, let me pick something. This TV, it's 65 inches. Okay, they're all 65 inches. Well, this one has 4K. Well, they're all 4K. And it's like you get down to like the little the bezel is like 0.4 inches versus 0.3 inches. Like, well, that one, I don't know. That could be the
so you're like
first rounder.
All right, so it sounds like you're not going to Best Buy for this.
I'm totally going to Best Buy.
No, you're going to Best Buy.
0% financing for like 18 months.
So when you're going to Best Buy, are you asking? Oh, I appreciate.
Yeah, exactly. No, I go into Best Buy with like the coaches. Like I've made a decision. I'm putting my thing into the commissioner. Dave is first round. Dave is picking the Samsung 65-inch TV.
Well, Mel Kiper. Well, it's more built for speed than comfort, but I think it's going to go real well to his man cave.
It does have 4 HDMI inputs, so it's multi. He can. It's what are they like? He can be used it can be used anywhere or universal or
it's like a Swiss Army knife of TVs. It can really very versatile. It's the equivalent of Julian Edelman. You could play easily 3 wide receiver positions with it.
It can go inside. It can go outside. It can go up the middle, whatever, whatever
it's like
you need.
It's like that guy whose dick fell out. You know what I'm saying? It can go in any type of atmosphere.
If you're the woman, I don't know if it can go in any type of atmosphere. I'm not sure they'd want that.
Oh, no, there's right.
Yeah.
There's probably a few who, it's got to pop out somewhere.
Exactly. There's a no in there somewhere.
Real quick, because you said it, we got to be fragmental here. I always get a good laugh when I see the dude that's 6'7" with a girl that's 5'1". And I just so bad want to ask.
The Shaq meme.
I just want to ask, look, where does it go? That's all I want to know. There's no way you're ingesting that whole thing.
I don't. Again, no. Okay, no. In fairness, if you can push a baby out, I mean, you can make that. But that's width. I mean, that's girth. That's not depth. There's a limit there. I mean,
right.
I mean, there's a physical limit at that point, right?
Right, because the baby moves all that out of the way to come out.
Yes.
Whereas I guess it's Shaq saying, I'm gonna
work my way in.
I'm gonna rearrange. I'm gonna rearrange your entire insides right now
for you.
All right, sorry. You teed me up. I'm just a man.
That's all right. That's the name of the show.
I'm just a man.
We're all over the fucking place.
So I think here's another one, right? That you could completely overanalyze because you got to do your due diligence. Hiring or
job interviews.
Yeah,
right?
Job interviews, like both of those, right? So as a hiring manager, you're asking these questions. Could you imagine if you treated it like the NFL Combine? You're like, well, you're answering all these questions really well, so because they always ask all these ridiculous questions like, so look, it's you're on the road, it's a tough night, you decide to let somebody fuck you in the ass. How would you handle the next day if you have a meeting with that person? It took too long, you're not ready for this game. 5th round pick, you guys.
But if it's the draft though, you've got all of your candidates. You're doing that by you have your own war room, right?
Right. But you had to ask the questions to get those answers, right?
Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
So you're breaking down those answers. Okay, so maybe it would actually be look,
the calibration piece.
I asked the anal question to 6 of them. Only 2 of them seem like they're prepared to look someone in the eye after taking a pounding. I don't know if anybody else is ready for the challenge of this job.
Yeah. Then again, as the candidate, I'm like, why am I getting fucked in the ass for this job? I thought this was an accounting. This is weird.
Accounting. But you know what I'm saying? So if you're just looking, so you're looking at the candidates and you're saying well, this one's really got a high motor. Don't know how they're going to handle adversity, but I'll tell you right now, they've got the goods when it comes to just, the right personality. Again, this is accounting. This isn't sales. What are we trying to do here?
Right. Exactly. The draft though is who's like, what do you need for your team? You know what I mean? So it's like, you're like, this candidate's great, but they don't have this. We're looking for this, and we're gonna move them down. We're gonna move them to the 5th round. It's like, or whatever. I was looking at the resume. They faltered there in February, against Alabama, but however, they came back against Clemson.
So, what do you guys think about Frank? I thought it was a pretty good interview. Look, Bob, he answered every question the right way. The guy was too prepared. Plain and simple, I think if we asked him a question off the cuff, he's not going to be able to handle it.
He can't adjust.
Right.
Frank can't adjust. Or Bob can't, whatever the fuck his name is.
But, I mean, that's what I think would be hilarious if we took all those things into that, picking the person. And at the end, you're like, and now the offer goes to Eric. Oh my God! Can you believe he just picked Eric? Gee,
all of our numbers. Mel Kiper, what do you think? All of my members had Bob. I was looking at Bob. Bob had this. Bob had that. Bob had this. This is out of nowhere. But Eric's got some upside, and
right. The guy's a real grinder. I mean, we saw him. He was.
What was the term you used earlier about? He's
gritty and gutty.
He's gritty and gutty.
Right, and but was he gritty and gutty? Yeah, he's both, Bob. And I think ultimately that's what came down to the ultimate decision. Erica was over here, so we hired Eric. But Erica really thought had an inside track, but Eric really took the bait here.
Exactly. This came out of nowhere. Absolutely. I am surprised by their selection.
The New York Jets fans are booing here.
That would be great though, and have fans woo.
Right. There's no offer letter. They just we're gonna have all 5 of you sit in conference room Q, please.
Exactly.
And you're sitting there looking at him like, hey, man, I like that suit. Interesting pick. He went with a pink tie. It's a ballsy move. We'll have to see how it plays out. Oh, here's Dave with the announcement.
In the first round, and our only selection, because you're filling one spot. There's no round. Our only selection, it's Bob. Yeah, Bob! Yay!
We really thought he was going to go with a quota filler here, but it looks like he's staying with a lame-ass white guy as expected.
Exactly. Most of corporate America.
Oh, man. But no, I mean, again, it's just so ridiculous how far they go, and I get it. I mean, billions of dollars are had with the NFL. Yeah. But, I mean, I guess they are also in the corporate world, too. But I think it would be hilarious if we went like this. Because that's the other thing. Because of the way the laws are set up, right, because colleges have all these antitrust exemptions, we treat these players like at literal pieces of meat. You would never.
They're an asset.
You would never be able to do this in an interview process outside of the NFL. If we did this at corporate, the things they do and say, we'd be fired.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, they are literally. I mean, you've seen all this. I always go back to the SMU, whatever that 30 for 30 was with SMU and.
Where they were all paid by the guys,
by the boosters. And I feel for the. I mean, unfortunately for me anyway. I don't know in general, but unfortunately for me, I wasn't talented enough to be like that caliber of a player.
Oh yeah.
But they're to a college. They're a fucking asset.
Oh, they make a ton of money. It's
an investment in it's almost an investment in a financial. So it's not institution. It's like a derivative. It's like a financial.
No, like a hedge fund.
No. It's like a financial product essentially. At that point, so you go recruit this kid out of high school, knowing that he's gonna bring you wins or bring you whatever, right? Which brings you dollars, and then that candidate goes to, or that player, maybe his career goes amazing, right? He's a rock star, goes number one. Now this. I don't know, you Syracuse, but it hasn't happened in a while.
There has been a first rounder since Donovan McNabb.
Exactly.
Sure.
So let's use the Donovan McNabb. So you recruit Donovan McNabb. It brings millions of dollars to the fucking Syracuse University. He goes first round to the Eagles, which brings notoriety. Of course, I'm 3 drinks in.
Yeah, you're slurring pretty bad.
I am slurring pretty bad at this point. It brings notoriety to Syracuse, which brings other players to Syracuse. But I remember I watched that draft. I watched the McNabb draft. Those Philadelphia fans booed the shit out of him.
They did. They did not want
They did
McNabb.
not. They wanted Ricky Williams. Williams.
Yeah.
That shows you how fucking educated the fans are. I mean, the Philly made it. Now, granted, they made it to the Super Bowl. McNabb, you know what? I'm a McNabb fan. I'm a Syracuse fan. He kind of choked a little. I feel like he
didn't play his best football in some of the biggest games, but
right.
You can't deny during the regular season Donovan McNabb was a top 5 quarterback every year. I mean, the guy was playing great football.
Completely agree.
Sorry, you guys don't want us to break down football. I get it, but
yeah, no, we get it too. But it's a financial run at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a financial run. So, we got off track there a little bit. I think we were back on.
Well, we weren't hiring. So what about getting hired? All right. So how does the draft go in there? as far as if you're the person going for it, are you doing the breakdown as well with different companies, different departments?
I feel like getting hired is like you're the guy sitting at
you're
the
just
table.
the draftee.
Yeah, you're the guy sitting at the, with a camera comes up to you and you're like, "Are you going this round? Are you going this round?" And you're like,
and they're looking at it and they're like, "Well, I mean, Andrew's been sitting here a while, guys. I don't know that it's going to happen for him this time." And he's just like, "Well, I mean, I put all my eggs in one basket. Unfortunately, going to do the best I can, and hopefully, it works out for me next time."
And what's his name say when he comes to the draft? You say, "Oh, and the selection goes to
No,
yeah." You're like Bob, and they cut to the guy that didn't get it, and he's like,
"No, you're supposed to be gracious, but they're like,
and you're like,
damn it."
They're slow clapping the shit out of it.
Yeah, see, that'd be even harder in the job world because, like, chances are there's not 12 of you going for 5 positions. It was 8 of you going for one.
One, right?
So it's
and
not
you
like
see everybody like in the lobby, like you're sitting with everybody in the lobby.
Yeah, right. They're like, I'm now sitting with Mike, and he looks like he's taking this pretty hard. Mike, what do you think? Oh, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna fucking pay my bills. I really thought I was gonna get this. Yeah.
Hey, and they cut to somebody else and like, you know what? I gave him my best shot. I put my first foot forward. I did the combine as best I could. That'd be great. A combine for fucking job interviews.
That'd be great too. I think I'd ace it because I'm so goddamn charming.
You are charming. You're a charming young man.
Thanks. I don't know about young, but
you're a charming man.
I think I am too. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, great.
This just got weird, but I appreciate it.
It did. But I'm also drunk, so that helps.
All right. Speaking of weird, we'll take the draft to the next level.
Speaking of, this whole fucking conversation has been weird.
So taking the draft to the next level, dating, right? Just the whole, right? So you're at the club, and this goes for male and female, but I think it's very different criteria they're looking at. So you're looking at it, and you're like, well, I mean, we've got 5 choices over here. I'm really looking at the blonde over there, but her friends look really bitchy. I think I'm out on this one. You know what because you got to look at that whole thing.
Funny you went to the blonde. What's wrong with like the brunettes or the redheads? Everybody goes to the blonde.
I like blondes, but no, I'm an opportunist. I like them all. But
it's fun. Here's the fun thing about blondes. I think because they're blonde, they stand out over brunettes and redheads or whatever. So that's why everybody kind of gravitates to a blonde.
All right. Well, now that I look like an asshole to all 3 of our female listeners,
I'm trying to think what their hair color is.
Okay, so, but I said I was out on the blonde because the bitchy friends. So now I'm looking at the redhead. She's, redhead's a little exotic.
Little fire crouch going on,
she might be willing to do a little things that the others aren't because she feels like she needs that little extra edge to get in there.
Is it okay? Let's back up. Just back down one thing. Is it hair color or is it like the number? Like, is a 6 gonna do more than a 10?
So see, that's all part of the breakdown, right?
Okay, you're right.
So,
well, here we go. I mean, we're literally doing a fucking draft right now.
This is what the draft would be. You've got
she's a blonde.
7.
Yeah, but she's a 6. So
the brunette over there is way too hot. I mean, if you look at her, she looks like she's only going home with a 9 or 10 dude tonight. So if I blow my wad on that, I'm going to spend a lot of money and be disappointed, Bob. I'm going to have to go another route. I mean,
right. I'm like a 7, so that's a little out of you're shooting a little high. It's not going to fit your game. A 6 or 7 in the brunette redhead frame, though. Hey, the opportunities go up from there.
Right. You got to look at the whole package, and then there's also the things you like because every dude's different. So the guy's like, man, look, the face isn't the greatest face I've ever seen, but man, she's got an amazing rack. Look at the ass on that one. How is that not my pick for the evening?
Exactly. She's moved from the 5th round to the 1st round.
Right. It wasn't looking good, but you know what? She turned around. And I noticed that those 2 fine-ass hams in the back of her dress, Bob, and that's where I'm going.
I'm guessing she's not wearing underwear there, Mike, so.
Yeah, I mean, and I think
it's no underwear or a thong, I'm just saying.
And girls go through it too, man.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they're looking at the guys, they're like, all right, that guy, he's 6'8". That guy's packing heat.
Yeah.
So, do I want to walk normal tomorrow or
Well, here's the funny thing about the draft, though, because you can draft the Ryan Leaf. That 6'8" guy could be the Ryan Leaf of the world.
right, they got to think of that.
Yeah, right.
But what about this guy over in the corner? He's got $1,000 suit on. Does he really have that much money? What's he compensating for is what I want to know.
Exactly. Or is he 5'8", $1,000 suit, 10-inch dick, versus a 6'8" guy that's wearing a $200 suit? Maybe he's got a 10-inch dick. Maybe he's got a fucking 3-inch dick. I'm just saying.
So then the girls are looking around there as they're analyzing all of this, and they're like, maybe I'm going with the quiet guy in the corner. Because the quiet guy, you know what? Even if it's not there in size, I bet that guy can pump for 25 minutes straight, and I'm good with that.
You know what? He may not have the size, but he's going to fucking work for it.
That's a gritty son of a bitch right there.
There you go. $1,000 suit, gritty. I've moved him from the 5th round to the 2nd round.
Right.
Exactly. I'm going to take my shot with a 6'8" guy in the 1st round. If that doesn't work, 2nd round, I'm going with the 5'8" guy in the corner.
I mean, that's essentially what it is in the club. Until you get later in the night, things change.
Oh, yeah.
Because now you're looking at the girl and you're
now
like,
you got the
wait a
goggles
minute.
that I have on currently.
Because now you're looking at the girl and you're like, wait a minute. I mean, I've been staring at this girl all night, but now I'm looking at this one. She might be a little thicker than her, but as I look at her again, I think she's a little more interested tonight. I mean, I think she started off the night looking for a 12-inch dong, but now she's looking for a good 6 or 7. I'm now in the game, and she just needs a guy who can pump for 20 minutes plus. I'm back in.
I wonder if that's what, that would be awesome. Like you had Mel Kiper and who's the Todd McShane in your head. That'd be great. Like both male and female there. That's what's going through her head. Like Mel Kiper. Hey, you know what? He could have a 6-inch dick, but he's gonna go for 20 minutes. He's got a great job. He's stable. Those are the upsides of that.
And they're talking to the girl, and they're like, look, you're easily an 8 or 9. You've got a great rack. You're in great shape. You've put a lot of work into this. Don't let it go. You have earned the right to be picky here. Just because that guy's good looking doesn't mean he's worth a shit.
Exactly.
Think it through. Look, as a matter of fact, he's got a wedding ring on. I just noticed that. Put him down. I know you're still, for some reason, you're drawn to him. I don't know why. You need to lower him down to the 6th round. I'm just saying.
Move him back to 7 or 8. Was it 8? How many rounds in the draft?
I think 6 or 7 now.
6 or 7. Is it really 6 or 7?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
There's not that many.
Yeah, back him down to the 7th round. And then, you know what I mean? But the guy in the corner, you need to move him from 5 to 2. Take your shot with a 1st rounder. If that doesn't play out, then move to your 2nd round.
This Justin, did you see that? He opened the door for that lady. I think you might want to consider it. He's a gentleman.
Move him up in the round.
And now she's just confused.
Yeah.
She's like, what do I even want? I am an 8. I am an 8. I'm not 5. Not today, my friend. Maybe in an hour if I'm drunk enough, but not right now.
When those goggles come on and you look like a 10.
Right, because then you flip it around and the guy, again, he's judging that. Because at the beginning of the night, he knew, she's shooting me down. But then he's like, she's drunk enough. First of all, she's not pass out drunk. Now it's not even draftable. Just saying.
Yeah,
exactly. That's where you got to be you got to be a good human being there. And you just say, you know what? She's had too much to drink. It's not there. But I need her to have enough to where her judgment is impaired. She's still fully there, and she's going to remember this.
I need her in that weird range where, the judgment's off, but she's not, non-judgment.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's just enough that she's willing to loosen her morals a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, some of us have gotten laid with those loose morals by a long shot.
And that goes on both sides, right?
Oh, God, yeah.
So.
Oh, God, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
Walk of shames across the board on that one.
Right, I mean, you're just looking
across all genders on that one.
You're like, you know what? I went into the night not even looking at that chick. I think she's had enough to drink. She might be willing to go roadhead on the way home.
Roadhead. Oh, roadhead. Sorry.
So I'm in.
Apparently, alcohol is affecting my hearing as well.
I'm in. I'm going with I don't know, Anastasia in the corner.
Anastasia, you're pulling out like the Eastern European.
I'm trying to pick a name of that's not a girl I speak to often
on a daily basis.
Right. I mean, I guess I could have just went with the very easy Sarah or Jennifer, but Jennifer Aniston. Damn.
Oh God, don't even fucking get me started on Jennifer Aniston.
I don't even think there's enough alcohol for her to ever lower her standards that much. Even blackout drunk, I think she'd still be like, no.
no. There's
Not
no way.
ever.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, I don't even know where I am or what time it is, but no.
I don't even remember my name, but I know I'm not going home with you tonight.
She looks great. Jennifer Aniston looks great. And then I saw something the other day, like it was a meme or something about keeping TV viewers interested, and it had a picture of Jennifer Aniston with the nipples out, and a picture of Kaylee Cuoco. Is that how you pronounce it? Coco?
Oh, from yeah,
with her nipples out. And it's funny. I was watching it the other day, and her nipples were out. And I'm like, hey. I said to my wife, I'm like, hey, it seems cold in there. And she's like, what? And she's like, oh.
Oh,
nice.
so you meant you could see him through?
Yeah,
I'm thinking
both
like,
of them were wearing like those white wife beater tank tops.
Because I was starting to wonder, like, I'm pretty sure I should have gotten a notification on my phone that their breasts were on the internet. Just saying.
Their breasts aren't. You shouldn't get a notification. They're just there.
So keep it in the same line. We're gonna shift gears. It's not just in the club anymore. Now it's marriage, right? The stakes have gone up.
Oh yeah. So now you're drafting your wife at this point, right?
Yeah. So look, I'll give a real life example here through the eyes of my wife. She's looking at me and she's like, "All right, so we've got a he's okay, decent looking guy, right? I've certainly been with better looking guys. I probably haven't been with worse. But, the guy's he's smart, great GPA, does really well in school. He's a good athlete. He's Jewish, and he's pre-med. Holy shit. I might have just hit.
Lottery.
Yes, I think I just found the Holy Grail.
First round. I'm moving him to the first round.
Yeah.
He's on my board at the first round.
Right. I was that, like, I went into the Senior Bowl as a fourth round pick. And she was like, shocking turn of events here. The Jew over on the right is just, shockingly, he can jump. I hear his ball slap when he lands.
He's athletic. He's pre-med. We may have a fucking Hall of Famer here.
Right. The only thing we're missing is he's 5'8" and not 6'2". But I'm willing to overlook that. Look, as a Jew, you already know there's a 50% chance he's a doctor or a lawyer.
Or something financial.
Right. If you factor those in, it's now 70%.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've got pretty good odds here. I think I'm going with the Jew.
I'm going.
And, which was great.
Who's the Goodell? And in the first round, we select the Jew.
Oi.
Oi.
So, right, I just won. I just got drafted.
You put on like a Star David hat.
Right. That's a Star David. Everybody's happy. She's like, man, my parents, as soon as they're willing to get past the Jew part, are going to be so happy.
Exactly. Your jersey says Shalom 1.
Yeah, I mean, half of her family was pretty disappointed, but they got over it. And then, boy, did I turn into Ryan Leaf. Maybe, yeah, I got her pregnant.
Yeah, you wouldn't, I don't know about Ryan Leaf, but.
That's, you know what, that's a good point.
Maybe more of the.
What about Jeff George?
Jeff George. No, who's the guy that's in Canada now? Who's playing on the arena, or not the arena, the new.
If you call me Johnny Manziel, go fuck yourself, man.
I was going with Manziel, too. Sorry, man.
I mean, first of all, he's way better looking than me. He came from money. Still a worthless piece of shit.
Yeah, no, okay, all right. I'll retract my Manziel.
That's
comment.
hurtful, man.
I'm sorry. So this is the last episode of Fragmental.
But I'm thinking Jeff George, man. The guy, maybe he was the number one pick.
Yeah.
But the guy was a bust. But then at the end of his career, he brought it back and had a few solid years.
Well, that's where I got confused, because you were talking Jeff George, and I'm like, actually, he wasn't that. I mean, he's no Brett Favre or he's no Tom Brady, but he wasn't
that's
a
what
bad
I'm saying. I was
quarterback.
drafted to be a doctor. I do pretty well. I got a good job, great father. Mm-hmm. Decent financially. That's what I'm saying. I think where I was the complete bust, I brought it back, and now she can at least be respectable with herself and said, I lowered my standards for this, and it actually ended up okay.
You know what? I got a nice steady quarterback.
Right. You know what?
Or steady running back.
Right. He knows
would
that.
Would you go to quarterback or running back?
I mean, looking at me now, it would clearly be left guard.
I was going to go with center.
So what was funny was back then I played left guard at 170 pounds. So I had the body of So there was a weird thing, right? I had the hands.
That's
I could have
small for a guard.
No,
man.
I was very small, but the thing is, I was quick.
Okay.
I was quick, which allowed me to engage the guys quicker. And to be honest, right, running backs are better athletes than me. I had a running backs coach who truthfully wanted me to. I think he wanted me to move to fullback, and they always said, "Dude, if you were 6'2", you'd be a tight end because I could catch anything." I'm 5'8". You don't see too many tight ends that are 5'8".
Chlamydia and
right. I can catch the herp like nobody's business, Dave.
Exactly. Wait a minute. Let me scratch the sore right here.
So now that we've talked about how my wife lowered her standards for her pick, but I mean, let's keep in that mode, right? So what's the dude's thought as he's looking for that one he's going to marry? Is it just the so for me, right? I was just the draft was pretty easy. It was like, holy shit, this girl's smoking hot. She's cute. She's a good athlete. Everything's great about her. I later in life learned that no, I didn't. Everything was great about her.
Well, the funny thing about marriage in general is like you learn things that you never thought you would know. Like,
yeah.
I went into like my draft. I'm like, well, the like she's like 5'2". I'm like, eh. And then, but the rest of her was amazing smile, amazing personality, all of that. And then you get into it and you're like, well, I never thought I would know that much about shoes, and I never thought I would know that much about fucking bras in general. Those are the two things that like I've learned in my marriage is like I didn't know that like bras were fucking like this confusing. I'm like, just buy a fucking bra. Like, no, you gotta go to this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And then shoes, like, well, that's a 3-inch heel, and that's Louboutin, and that's fucking Jimmy Choo, and like, just buy a fucking pair of shoes. I mean, what the fuck is going on here? So, no, I think we're off the draft at this point. I'm just complaining, but
yeah. All right. So let's say not us. Dudes are because we've already said the one. So let's talk about, I guess, women with their draft, not just my wife's. All right. They're looking at so many. That's the one thing. Like, so here's a good example. I think we come into this and we don't put together the huge portfolio. We come with our sheet of paper. Like, look, she's hot. She's smart.
yeah.
And she's got
We've got literally like 4 things. She's hot. She's smart. Great set of tits. Great ass. I think I'm going to marry her.
Yeah. And honestly,
that's like the criteria.
And I will say a difference maker can be personality.
Oh,
because
yeah, totally. I'll give you that.
A girl has a great
absolutely.
personality, like, honestly, in my opinion. And you know what else I'm going to say? A girl that has self-confidence. Any girl that is, any
Number one
woman that is self-confidence is, so all 3 of you that are listening,
all 3 women
I believe
that
you're
are
all married. Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest turn-ons that we would look for. Right? We're doing this draft. We're going to be like, damn, look how self-aware she is.
Doesn't
so
Kuiper
confident.
do like a thing with like a number? Like he like the like there when he does things, doesn't he break it? I'm trying to. In my head, I can think of this graphic of like on.
And
the
he's
screen.
got like the total, like on a total scale of 100, she scored a 95.
Exactly.
You know, like this was down, but her self-awareness actually scored a 12. We gave her 2 bonus points, which actually makes up for the fact that, whatever, think she's the top pick, Bob.
Yeah, I would go. What is that thing? It's like best of the rest. Kuiper's best of the rest.
But I think most dudes go into that draft not as strict as. I mean, there are the guys who are just ridiculous who find reasons to not do certain things.
Well, but women do the same thing. I mean,
women come in with a
women come in with like a
full-on
fucking
binder.
like a 500-page fucking binder. I was at I think it was a year or 2 ago. I was somewhere at a dinner, and the person I was talking to was like, they were talking about like they weren't gonna marry. This is fucking great because I think this fits the draft. They weren't going to marry like a 35-year-old or somebody in their 30s because they didn't want to, like, if they hadn't been married at that point, they're too old to know what it's like. The logic made no fucking sense. And of course, Mike, you know me. I turned to her and I said, well, then you're going to be alone for a long fucking time at this point. You know what I mean? Which made the table crack up, but she just, I don't know if she appreciated that comment, but it's
she was creating a shiv under the table is what she was doing.
Absolutely. It's like, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. I'm like, well, then you're going to be fucking alone. You need to make adjustments on what you're looking for at that point.
Right. So there are some women who are going to be the guy at the girl at the draft who's just like, I still haven't seen the guy on the white horse. I'm still waiting. I'm going to go ahead and skip my pick right here.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm going to keep waiting to see that doctor on his white horse. And you're like, first of all, that doesn't exist.
Exactly. Kathy succeeds her vote and moves on. Moves on to the next round.
Look who just swooped in.
So Karen swooped in and picked up a third rounder from.
Right.
Kathy traded her pick to Karen for a third round
and a sum of money to be paid later. I mean, I do think it's funny because the women, again, they have that whole thing, right? They're going and even when they are in the club, they are thinking all those things.
I mean, guys are thinking that. Well,
no, we're not. We're just in the club, we're like, I just want to have a good time tonight, whether that means sexually or just have fun.
No, well, look, if they're in the club, they're looking to get laid. Let's be honest. I mean, guys are looking to get laid in general.
Yeah, for the most part.
So it's like, she's hot. What do I need to do to get? What do I need to move her into the first round? I'll run first round. I'll run second. She's moving like. If you don't hit with her in the first round, let's move to the third round.
Well, guys, coming in tonight, we thought there were going to be 7 rounds. Dave's going for 15 if it's not there. He's swinging hard this evening.
Exactly. I am swinging back and forth.
But I do always find that funny because they're all different too. But they look into again, it's that over-analysis from the draft, man. They're looking at it like, how tall is he? What is his job? What I don't know. What are his parents like? What is? And you're like, man, the guy asked you to dance. He didn't. He's not looking for the dissertation you're writing on him right now. He literally wants to dance right now. And if you're good at dancing, he's probably going to try to fuck you. But
let's be honest, he's going to try to fuck you regardless.
That's true. That's the other way. If the guy's good at dancing, is when the girl's like, you know what? Maybe if I'm drunk enough, maybe I'm willing to consider this guy.
So this is funny. I was at. Speaking of dancing, guys dancing. I think it was my cousin's wedding or something like that, and my cousin's not my cousin's wedding, but another cousin of mine. What song came? Round, or you bring me round, or what? You know that song. So
from Flo Rida.
No, it's before.
Like, the original.
I'm talking the original.
I got you.
Anyway, they're divorced now, which is a completely different story, but. Her now ex-husband got up and started dancing this round, and he was. I mean, as a guy, I'm like, that fucking dude can dance. And then I looked at my cousin like, now I get it. I'm like, I looked at him dancing on the dance floor, and I looked at her, and I'm like, okay, yeah, right.
So see, back to how I was that first round pick. I mean, I could windmill break dance when I was young.
Yeah, you could. You could dance.
I mean, I can still dance. Yeah. I was better before I got fat. So
everybody's better before they get fat.
So again, there were a lot of things. Again, looks. Yeah, I was clearly mid-round pick, but it was a late round pick.
You know what's what you sent me that I took a picture of that photo that you had. And because you were talking about how your ears were so big, and I'm like, no, they're not. And then I saw that picture, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it now. I get it now. But yeah, I can see you. I mean, I can see it. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, I could. You can't see it, guys, but I'm popping and locking right now.
I did see you pop and lock. I did see you popping on that one. That show. So, wasn't a show. But
it was a show.
It was a show.
It wasn't a big show.
It was a charity event.
Yeah, that's right.
At the end of the day, it was a charity event.
It was a charity event.
It was all for good. It was all for a good cause.
So that's right. So for those of you that don't know, I have done a lip sync battle for charity.
Exactly. And charity appreciates it.
All right, guys. Thanks for your time. Always appreciate it. We're on Twitter now. What's the handle?
At fragmental.co. Or no, I'm sorry. At fragmentalco.
So find us on Twitter. It's this is new for us, so we want to keep growing it. And as always, we're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and fragmental.co. So thank you guys very much.
Thanks, Mike. And before I forget, we'll post that. Hey, look, we got episode. We're at 11.
Yeah,
we're at 11.
Double digits.
Yeah, absolutely double digits. So it's been a blast. We'll continue to go until Somebody tells us to stop, I think, at this point. So thanks, guys. Thanks, Mike.
Yep. Thanks, Dave.
Take care.